Cooking on this good up vibes. Wagwan, it's me, your favorite host, Natreat. You are tuning in to Prophetic Art. Before we begin, let us go ahead. Let us cleanse the energies. Inviting only positive energies in our space. May the ancestors, benevolent ones, lead and guide this transmission for the positive outcomes for the good of all. All right, so this topic is an intriguing one. It was something that I found so interesting because as an artist, the more I evolved, the more I recognized that the sacred art of channeling was being awakened through my music, poetry, writing, communicating, and just being free with my artistic expressions. And if you are an artist, you can totally agree that you notice that a lot of spiritual gifts are revealed when you are in that theta wave mode, when you are so tapped into what you're doing that you start to channel messages unbeknownst to you. So today's topic is frequency collaboration and how it is a part of connecting, bridging a path, a spiritual connection, memories, tapping into the memories of our ancestors, bringing them to life once again. My favorite poet, because you know I'm born in Jamaica, I idolized, I love the honorable, beautiful poet, Dr. Louise Bennett. I might have her title incorrect, but forgive me. She inspired me as a child, and I will never forget how she lit up the stage. I will never forget how I felt watching her growing up. The way she just go on, the way she just free up herself, and she was so authentic. She was so raw. She never cared if nobody never like her patois. She never cared if nobody never like how she slang her word them. How she guani with herself. She made me want to speak my native tongue. She made me feel like speaking patois was a privilege. and an honor. Especially, growing up in Jamaica at that time, back in the 90s, them, when I was going to school, they used to say, oh, you shouldn't speak like that. You need to learn how to speak proper. You have to learn to speak, in other westernized, Americanized twang, British twang that they had shoved down our throats. But me as a child, I couldn't find myself not speaking my Jamaican language because to me, and mind you, I'm a millennial, okay? Because I know I see what it is. I was born at that perfect time when technology was not taking my knowledge at that time. You know? We didn't have no iPhone enough on them thing there, because I remember when Nokia came out. Excuse me. I remember before the days of the flip phones and, you know, and I remember, like I said, let's go back to the school thing. Growing up in school, they used to force us to speak proper, you know? But Miss Louise Bennett, the Honorable, she, her poems, her artistic expression taught the average Caribbean folk to be raw in our authenticity, to embrace our African lineage, and to utilize art as a way to um, remind us of where we came from. Her skits on stage it wasn't just funny. It was a historical representation. It was bringing back memory. She would dress up in some of the, you know, traditional attire that we would wear, in some of the skits that she would have. And that would just bring that extra spice to the whole thing. And that's what I had loved. I want to create a new perspective, not only with art, but to create a new perspective of how we look at sound in the terms of frequency and what it does. Because we are utilizing sacred tools like sound, colors, sacred geometry for granted. Because we live in a reality that is multidimensional. And now that we are becoming more aware of the possibilities of things, the seed has been planted with our current capabilities in technology. We're starting to see that all this time, our ancestors were right. They were right. They would use music, dance. They would use colors, smells, essence. And we use terms like invoke. conjure, sum up, summoning. And now we have to really question the demonization of what our ancestors practiced. And it wasn't just practice, it was a day, it was normal. It was a way of life. Honoring nature was a way of life. It was normal to recognize that we are connected to the planet. Just like you think it's normal to bust out your phone and connect to Wi-Fi, an invisible force that you can't see, and conjure up a friend on the phone when you dial them. Okay. Um, yeah. Sometimes we get a little, what's the word? I wouldn't even say delusional. But sometimes we don't want to admit that we were wrong. Yes, because I'm not gonna lie. I grew up in the church. I grew up as a serious Christian, okay? And it took a lot of searching and realizing that I was bamboozled. I was living in religious psychosis. And no offense to anyone, because we all have our sovereign right to practice whatever we want to practice. But where I stand at this point in my journey, I recognize that there is so much more to this realm than meets the eye. Let me share a little poem with you. This is a message from the feminine frequency, the creative force of life, the primordial energies of the waters. It goes like this. Out of the waters, frequency, rise into the clouds, raining down multiplicities of things. Let us dissect it. When we think of desires, when we think of the deep connection we have with the subconscious mind, because everything is birthed from the subconscious mind, including this reality. They say it's a big bang, but it must have been inspired. There must have been a desire for the bang to be bang. The thing is that everything starts with desire. And as the frequency rises, and it reaches a peak, it has to now, as it reaches the cloud of dissemination, the only thing left is to multiply, creating new reflections, me, you, and all that we see. This is the creation story, and you can decipher that within your spirit. See the connection between our artistic expression and how we remember or bring back to remembrance the fabric of the past. And when I say past, I'm talking ancestors. The memory of an ancestor, for instance, you imagine in your imagination, image nation. When you go within your image nation, you will recognize that you see within with eyes that you can't physically see. It's as if you are going within the cloud, right? Cloud storage is a perfect example of where frequency is stored. Imagine that your own imagination is the same technology, except for infinitely more advanced. Okay? They call it technology for a reason. Everything you see is birthed from us. Within our imagination, when we invoke an image of the past, relatives, past situations, we could see it, we could feel it. Remember how they smelled. Remember how they looked. Remember when you had a conversation with them. You're bringing them back to life. When we express ourselves in art, we are doing the same thing. We are building a bridge between the quantum and the physical realm. When you call a name of someone that has passed on, you are bringing them back into the material realm. And this podcast, this topic at this time, the topic is frequency and how we use these frequency tools to collaborate with the immaterial realm, the realm that is unseen. The whole point of this podcast is to inspire, provoke the thought, plant the seed to remind us that frequency expressed through art is a powerful tool. Whether you use the tool of music or whatever tool you want to use, it is powerful. Memory is powerful. And the attack on sacred practices such as ancestral veneration, the demonization of it, to be honest, it's crazy. Because the same people that demonized it is utilizing tools that is creepy and, quite frankly, that's the one. Okay, I won't even mention any names, but some of these tools, okay, some of these technologies is almost gross, because somebody will see somebody honoring the very substance that birthed us into this realm and call that demonic. But then we'll take a tool, some type of technological tool, and do some weird stuff with it. And nobody find that to be weird. But you know what? That's not the topic of the day. I digress. The point of the matter is that I want to change the perspective of how we view frequency in relation to art, music, poetry, and how these tools can help us to build a bridge to the past, memories, ancestors, wisdom that is hidden deep within, connecting us back to all of our essence. It's a beautiful thing to recognize that science, art, and spirituality, they go hand in hand. There's no separation. It's always been one. It's just that, I mean, things happen and we forget. But here we are today. I just want to thank you for taking your time, sharing your energies. I appreciate you, and I hope to see you in the next podcast. All right. Let me know what you think in the comments regarding this topic. Let me know if it makes sense to you and how you utilize art to collaborate with the ancestors and your higher self. I'll see you soon. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe, and also check out my link tree to all my other social media accounts. I appreciate you. Stay blessed and stay loved. And you are loved.